What's up everybody, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be replacing the front pads and rotors on this 2015 Mercedes CLA250. So if you go right behind the driver wheel, there is a jack pad right here. That's where you're going to put your jack, and that's where you're going to lift up. After the car is jacked up to a good height, I'm going to put this jack stand right underneath the front control arm, underneath the wheel. I'm not going to set the car down on the jack stand. I'm just going to keep it here for in case there's an emergency and the car falls. Next, we're going to take the master cylinder cap off. Just take the cap off, and I'm going to remove this filter here. The lug studs are 17 millimeter. When you take this last one off, you want to support the wheel because it's going to come flying off. Next, I'm going to give the brake caliper a little slack, just like that. Now, usually on the passenger side, the back brake pad has a sensor hanging on it, just like this, and the way to disconnect it, it's going to be connected right like this. Just grab it and pull it straight out. It'll come right out. Usually your new brake pads will come with a new sensor. If they don't come with a new sensor, you can remove the sensor with some needle nose pliers. Just grab it from here, pull it straight up. The caliper guide pins are a 13 millimeter, and I'm going to use a 17 to make sure that it doesn't rotate up here. Now that we have the caliper off, I'm going to grab it and just hang it up here. I'm going to make sure that the brake line doesn't get all twisted up, and just grab something to secure it with. I'm going to grab a bungee cord and put it straight through the middle, hook it onto the coil, and then wrap it from here. Let's get these brake pads off. Oof, look at that. That is metal on metal. Look at that. That's crazy. The rear caliper bolts are E18s, external Torx. One's up here, one's directly below it, right down here. This rotor retaining bolt right here, or rotor retaining screw, is a T30, and you want to be careful with these because they strip very easily. So what I do is I usually put pressure and then turn. This one is super loose though. Look at that. Next, I'm going to clean up this entire hub before I do anything with the brakes. I want to make sure this is all clean before I put a new rotor here. Normally I use brake cleaner to clean the brake rotors, but I don't have any with me today, so I'm just going to use a rag. And you want to get all this oil off of here. It's just a film to protect the rotor from rusting. you want to make sure you line up the rotor screw hole to where it's going to thread through, right here. Again, be careful not to strip this one. I'm going to put some pressure on it and just turn it quarter turn. Next, I'm going to clean up this bracket, and I'm going to clean up these areas right here where the metal on the brake pad meets the bracket, and I'm going to clean up these areas here. Yeah. Don't forget thread locker on the brake caliper bracket bolts. Let's snug these up. Now I'm going to tighten these brake caliper bracket bolts up to, just enough. I don't know the torque specs, but just make sure you tighten them up. Don't break them, and don't under tighten them either. Now we're going to take these guide pins and clean them up. I'm using this VersaChem caliper grease. Now I'm going to lube up the ears of the brake pads. You don't want to put too much. Let's start with the rear one. Reinstalling these could be tricky. What you want to do is get these little metal clips onto the ears here on the insert, and then push it down and then in. Like I said, they're a little tricky, but with enough force, you'll be able to get them in. Now let's get our caliper. Let's bring it down. I'm gonna stand this caliper up just like this. I'm gonna make sure this brake line doesn't bend. Grab your tool. And just press slowly. You want to keep an eye on the master cylinder. Make sure that it doesn't overflow. If you think it's going to overflow, then grab a turkey baster or a fluid transfer pump and get some of that brake fluid out. With a pick, I usually go right in between the piston and the boot here. Just make sure there's no air trapped in here. Alright, now it's time to put this caliper back on. Make sure the brake line isn't twisted up. line up the ears. Start putting these in by hand. Now I'm going to tighten these up. Got my 13mm in the back, 17 in the front, right here. Make sure the pin doesn't spin. Be careful because you could break that very, very easily. Do the same thing with the bottom one. Make sure the caliper glides just like that. If it doesn't, then usually the piston isn't pushed back enough, or you didn't do a good job cleaning the guide pins. I'm gonna line up the holes for the lug studs, and this is my setup. I'm gonna grab this and thread it in my hand. Once you get one in, you can let go of the wheel and then put the rest in by hand. Now I'm going to torque down the lug studs to 96 foot-pounds. Now we're going to lower the wheel back down slowly. Next, we're going to pump the brakes, put the cap back on the master cylinder, and take the car out for a test drive. Thanks for watching.